into a negative direction. Terrible terrible attributes for an SEO. Let's just like say, someone you've interviewed, maybe. What are like negatives? Like, are you interested in learning things on your own? If the answer is no, 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 I prefer to have instructions. Probably maybe SEO is not a great fit for you. In that vein, what are negative signals that we want to avoid when considering an SEO career path, or when trying to maybe hire an SEO, an entry level SEO?
I think first of all, this is a really interesting question, and I like it because I don't typically like to think about like the negative side of things, but I think that I think Eli alluded to this a little bit in the sense that you have to have an innate curiosity. And you can kind of test for this in interviews. And you can also demonstrate the opposite of this in an interview if you were being interviewed. But people who there are two types of employees on like team members I've worked with in the past. And the ones that do really well are extremely proactive. And that curiosity gives them forward momentum into what like new strategies, and they're the ones who are uncovering something on the site that needs to be fixed that we weren't even aware of, those types of things. On the flip side, people who tend to, I think, struggle in SEO or maybe not enjoy it in the long run, might be a better way of framing that, are those that would prefer to work from a checklist. Checklists are great, but if you need things to be prescribed to you always, SEO might be not the most fun thing, because very often you are the one who is discovering what needs to be done and then finding out who's going to help you do it because there'll be too much. So I think if, in the past when I'm interviewing, if I get the impression that someone is the type of employee or team member who would prefer to have, kind of have their hand held along the way with projects and be checked in on a lot and be told exactly what to do, SEO probably just isn't going to be the best fit for them, because very often they're going to be the ones who need to make that decision. Even in junior level roles, you need to have the ability to scan a site and just make note on, hey, I noticed this other thing while I was fixing those redirects or whatever it is. So I would say that's probably the primary negative attribute that I would be on the lookout for.
It's very real. Jenny, negative attributes that you try to solve for or avoid?
I mean, I think the biggest one for me is somebody who's very like, what are my job tasks focused, who's kind of afraid to push into other areas of the organization, because I think that there's so much that SEO can help with. Everything from, like, I was in a meeting the other day and they were talking about getting all the YouTube videos, getting the titles and descriptions for all the YouTube videos, and they were going to do it manually. I was like, oh gosh, I can write an XPath and Screaming Frog and have this for you in the next 10 minutes. Like, things like that. I want to see somebody who's going to be that person who's going to volunteer to solve problems for other teams and to make themselves indispensable and be able to build that respect within the organization for SEO as a service. So anybody who's really, really focused on, like, these are the things that I do, whether it's like a checklist or it's like job description, that's not going to be a good fit for any role that I'm hiring.
The amount of trust that you can build by just like, well, what is that? Oh, well, actually, and then, oh, really? Oh, what? Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's how I figured out the answer to this, because I do this all day. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. It's that's an incredible.
Yeah.